Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Buckets Podcast 2018-2019 season. Today we're going to focus on the deep sleepers. I'm back. As you know, I took a hiatus. You know, at times life gets busy, and life is still busy. Life is still busy because as I'm talking to you guys right now, I'm actually sitting in traffic on my way to work because I'm a rebel like that. But yeah, I figure, you know what? Traffic's moving slow. Life gets busy. I really don't have the time to shoot video at the moment and upload it to YouTube like I typically did in the past. But maybe I'll get back to that. But as of now, I figure why not talk to you all in my morning commute. You know, we all got to get up and grind and we stay busy. We're all stuck in this hamster wheel. The majority of us are. And I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. I just want to talk hoops with you guys. So I don't have any slides that you can visibly see, but I'm going to just talk some hoops and share with you guys who I think some deep sleepers are this season. You may have drafted already. If you haven't drafted, then listen up. But if you have drafted, it's fine because some of these guys might just be sitting on your waiver wire because they're just that low key. They're that low key. So first guy I'm gonna talk about is Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen, excuse me, is a center for the Brooklyn Nets, and similar to last year, who the hell do the Brooklyn Nets have? Think about it. I paused, drank some of my coffee to let y'all kind of just ponder. Jarrett Allen, I believe, can be a good center. He started flourishing in the second half of the season last season. You know, there really isn't any other competition there at the center position, and he's gonna eat, man. He's looked good in preseason. He's blocking shots. He had a nasty block a couple games ago, and he's gonna give you solid rebound production. As you know, big men are typically efficient, so as long as he can average about 12 points, 8 to 9 rebounds, he may, you know, become a monster on the boards and average more than that and average a double-double. But if he can at least get 12 points and 8 to 9 rebounds in his average and then chip in some blocks and steals here and there, maybe an assist or two, that's gonna average out or round out to like 20 points per game, and that's a great average for a fantasy basketball player in the NBA. So, yeah, Jarrett Allen, look for him. You'll be able to take him late, past the 10th round. In my league of record, the guys that I play with, they're pretty savvy, and I'm pretty sure they did their research the way I did, and they knew. So I had to, when the 10th round came, I felt like I could have waited a little longer, but I didn't because I knew if last draft, when I waited on a couple players, you know, they sometimes got snatched up. So, Jarrett Allen, look for him. If you need a big, if you go guard heavy in the beginning of your draft, and you got a small forward and every position looks solid except center, use that guy. The other guys I want to mention that's a big that I missed on in this draft because I guess my league mates knew about him and knew what he was capable of is Enes Kanter. Now, Enes Kanter isn't really like a low-end pass. I think he's ranked in the 70s or 80s as far as overall ranking. But, man, I really think Enes Kanter, if you have a chance, if he drops in your draft, and because he's just not that big of a name other than Twitter trolling LeBron and shit like that. Take him. Like, if you can get him in the 8th, 9th round, that's money. Because, man, Enes Kanter is gonna eat on points and boards. Porzingis is out indefinitely. He might be out the whole season. There's rumors that he might not even play this season and just use this whole season to recoup and to rejuvenate his injury. And so you might be looking at a full season where Enes Kanter is the main big on the Knicks team. So Enes Kanter can definitely give you some points, give you some fantasy buckets. He's more than capable of averaging a double-double as far as points and rebounds. If he does anything else, there's just extra, it's just an extra cherry on top of the cake, on top of the Enes Kanter cake. So Enes Kanter, I think, is a good pick. After Enes Kanter, someone else on the Knicks that is really sliding under the radar is Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been putting in work. Every season he seems to get better. He's one of those names that just doesn't get talked about a whole bunch. I don't know if it's because his daddy was a legend. His daddy had that whop whop, in and out, boom boom, crossover. Now you shook move, and maybe he needs to add something like that to his game, so maybe he can stand out a little more. But he's still solid. He's still a good player. Like I said before, same thing with Kanter. Porzingis is out. Kanter ain't going to be averaging 30. He's not capable of that. Kanter might average 18, 15, and 10. But Tim Hardaway can definitely average, 20-plus points. He's that good. He's athletic. I've seen him playing off-season ball with Harden and Melo and some of the other, NBA elites. And, man, he looks solid. I've always thought he's a good player. He's got good defense. He's quick. He can do it all. And as far as the Knicks roster goes, he is the best perimeter guy on the team, by far. And Porzingis is out. Man, if Porzingis sits this whole season, Kanter and Tim Hardaway Jr. could be steals. So keep in the back of your mind, think about Tim Hardaway, especially because he has that shooting guard and small forward tag. Small forward, as usual, is scarce. There's not a lot of, not every team has a good small forward. So small forward, shooting guard, they're typically scarce, and there's not a lot to choose from. It's slim pickings. So pick up Tim Hardaway Jr. In the later rounds if you're not comfortable with who you landed with as far as shooting guard and small forward in the earlier parts of your draft. Moving on, I got another one. So the Atlanta Hawks, who do they got? Let me pause on that. Who do they got? They ain't got nobody. They got Trae Young, right? And Trae Young is supposed to be the next Steph Curry. The problem with that is Steph Curry is the only Steph Curry, right? And I'm not knocking the young man. I think Trae Young, could eventually be a good player in the league. But even Curry wasn't Curry when he came into the league. It still took a good 4 or 5 years for Curry to become that dude. And I just don't see Trae Young's gonna have the green light to shoot his ass off. I'm assuming that's why they drafted him. I'm assuming that's why any team would draft him, because they want him to just come in and just start launching jumpers from, right past half court. And if little man can do that, he's gonna have to do that, because, this NBA length is another monster. He ain't seen this length like this before. Shooting over these type of guards with that type of speed that can stick with him. But yeah, we'll see. I just don't think that Trae Young is going to become, overnight success and a superstar in his first rookie season. I think he's going to have to adjust his game. I think he can round out to being a good player, maybe in three years or so. But it's going to take some time, especially because of his size, for him to adjust to the NBA length, the NBA athleticism. And the other thing is most leagues, most fantasy basketball leagues, take into account shooting percentage. So if he's not being efficient with his shot, which I highly doubt that he is, because he's launching threes from past Curry range, that's gonna hurt his fantasy production. And I just don't see him shooting. I don't even see him shooting 40% from the 3-point line. I mean, it would be good if he could shoot 35% from the 3-point line. That would actually be a good percentage for him. But that's still gonna, knock his fantasy production down, because a lot of his points are gonna come from the 3-point shot. I don't see him driving in and getting a whole bunch of twos. Anyways, this long-winded explanation of Trae Young and what he's going to be leads me to the sleeper that I think is roster on his team, which I think is Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince is a small forward. He might have the shooting guard tag. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know he's definitely a small forward. Again, small forward spots are scarce. You don't really know. There's not really a lot of good small forwards in the league. Perennial small forwards that are going to get you like some good fantasy production on a consistent basis. I think Taurean Prince has the chance to do that. He's upped his averages every season he's been in the league, and like I said, I don't. If you think that the Hawks are gonna revolve around solely Trae Young, they might give him the green light for the first couple games in the beginning of the season to see how it goes. But I don't see success coming from that, and they might go over back to a system style of play. And Taurean Prince, that's where he's going to flourish, because he's athletic, he's long, he's got good defense. I could see him averaging like 15 points, maybe 6-7 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, and maybe even be one of the NBA leaders in steals. So he could chip in with that as well. So Taurean Prince, I think, is improved. I think he takes that next step forward because he's been in the league. He's adjusted. He's ahead of the curve, and I think he's a sleeper. You're gonna be able to draft this guy the very last round of your draft. So, I mean, if you just want to take a flyer on him, it's not gonna hurt. It could end up working out. Who else do I got? I'm trying to think who else I got. D'Angelo Russell is a sleeper as well. Like I said earlier, Brooklyn ain't really got anybody. That's why Jarrett Allen is a sleeper. D'Angelo Russell, is gonna be the main perimeter guy. He can get you assists. He can get you points. So D'Angelo Russell, a late flyer. People have forgotten about the name because he's, because he snitched in the locker room and broke the bro code. So yeah, it's like everybody has written him off. You don't really hear his name mentioned like it used to be. Excuse me. You don't really hear his name mentioned like it used to be. But I think D'Angelo Russell, is definitely capable of putting up some fantasy points. I believe he's coming back from an injury, but the thing to focus on is these teams that aren't going to be good teams and that have young talent that they're trying to give the opportunity to figure out what they have. They're trying to. It's like a mesh filter that they're shaking up, and the shaking up is the usage, and they're gonna see if any gold, stays on top of that mesh filter. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy, but maybe that connected with you and resonated. But yeah, sorry teams that you know aren't gonna make any noise with young talent, and young talent that has been there at least a year, and have came in as highly touted draft picks, then have a shot to flourish. And D'Angelo Russell's been in the league, man. He's I wouldn't consider him a vet now, but at least he knows the ropes. And he came in as a highly touted draft pick. Brooklyn ain't gonna do nothing, so I'm pretty sure they want to figure out what the hell they got with D'Angelo Russell. So late flyer for him as a point guard. If you don't like your point guards, you win. If you drafted big, heavy, you drafted number centers and power forwards in the beginning, D'Angelo Russell could end up being a good flyer at the end. Next guy that kind of ties to what I was saying about teams that really ain't going to make any playoff noise, but they want to see what they got and will have plenty of opportunity. This next guy is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox came in last season, and him and Lonzo Ball were being compared. They're totally different players. I see De'Aaron Fox kind of like a mix of like a Mike Conley, but a more athletic and faster Mike Conley without the experience. Because Mike Conley, say what you want about Mike Conley, but man, that dude just plays smart basketball. He's consistent. He'll dime you up. But I think De'Aaron Fox is more of a scoring version of Mike Conley. His game reminds me of Mike Conley, and he's a little more athletic, but he don't look to pass. He likes to get buckets. I think they're gonna get him the keys to the vehicle this year. I think he takes another step forward. He started improving his game towards the end of the second half last season, and the only other guy that they got on that team that is capable of putting up huge amount of points is Buddy Hield. And I don't think Buddy Hield, Buddy Hield walks around with his mouth open for no reason. And I don't know. He hasn't panned out. I liked him in college. In college, he was a beast. But I just think he hasn't panned out in the NBA. And I think De'Aaron Fox is a steal. De'Aaron Fox is crazy, wicked fast. And if he learns how to pace himself and when to hit the burners, when to kind of pause and hit the burners and just jet on defense, he's gonna be a problem. He already started being a problem towards the end of the year, so you don't really know what you're gonna get from him. But I think as far as opportunity goes, and for a late round flyer, the opportunity is definitely there. The minutes are going to be there. And what I always say is the main important stat to any fantasy basketball player, first and foremost, is minutes. Because you can't score any fantasy points if you're not in the game, right? Exceptions to that, rule of thumb is like guys who are like 6 men off the bench, and their main purpose is to come in and get buckets real quick and carry the offensive load while the starters get a breather, and then they jump right back in. But there's only a couple of guys that can really do that, and that will do that consistently. Guys that come to mind is Lou Williams is that type of dude. Jamal Crawford was that type of dude. He's probably, past his prime and can't do that anymore. Eric Gordon is one of those guys that could do that, but, Melo is there now. So, for the most part, 99% of the time, minutes are crucial. Like, minutes matter, and that's what De'Aaron Fox is going to have on his side. They want to see what they got with that young man, and they're going to let him run loose. So, if you're looking for a late round flyer, need that point guard, shooting guard, opportunity, then go ahead and roll with him. Guys, I'm finna make it into work, so I'm gonna sign off. If you listen to this, I appreciate you. I appreciate my basketball heads. I'm a basketball enthusiast, true and true. And man, I just love this shit. Ball is life. I'm a little washed up, can't hoop the way I used to, but I'll still hit you with that 1-2. All right, signing off. Fantasy Buckets. Holla.